Hello. Well, today, what is on my mind and what I was wanting to be able to talk about as it relates to resilience and as it relates to kind of the basic framework of how we interpret things and how we're relearning how to interpret things as recovered people for the sake of our resilience and, you know, holding that mindset of optimism and that all of the painful memories aren't related to us anymore. They don't have to be in our future. They don't have to be taken into account when it is harming us, when it's causing us to feel more pain. How important it is to just really use every single opportunity that we can, every opportunity, to know that it is us just practicing and deepening this underlying mindset of the way that we interpret things, the way that we interpret our circumstances, the way that our minds process information that helps us decide what actions we should take, what we should anticipate, how we should feel, or how we should emote. In other words, how we should add a narrative and interpretation to our bodily sensations, our feelings, you know? Every single opportunity, that's part of the brilliance of this new underlying mindset when we start really practicing resilience as a forever lifestyle for the rest of our life. Part of that brilliance is that every opportunity that in the past we might get really afraid of, really discouraged by, really just like feel really stuck by, and feeling like all our opportunities shrink and all our resources are spent. All of this can be avoided when we are able to realize everything that comes up, all that is an opportunity to deepen our practice of the way that we interpret basically ourselves in relation to the world around us. I think that that's extremely encouraging and just a breath of fresh air and a relief, honestly, because when you start realizing that every single thing that comes up is just an opportunity to feel strengthened, that this essential, strong, resilient, beautiful, just beautiful, lighthearted part of your humanity, part of yourself, once this is able to be strengthened and enhanced by the challenges that you face, then it helps even that much more to not live in fear of when's the next challenge going to come, like, and seeing life as like life is just a series of traumas and trials, that kind of perspective is not helpful to our growth and our sense of empowerment. And empowerment is an essential part of protecting ourselves, to stay resilient and to stay using our creative powers and our kind of obsessive tendencies towards things that give us more positive things that we want in life, more positive things that we want to experience, more positive things that help other people, instead of us feeling really discouraged and disempowered, and then that same creative energy, that fucking powerful, beautiful, needed energy, the energy that is needed on the planet, then that getting turned and wasted towards creativity that is harmful and has a lot of negative side effects for ourselves and other people. So, really, the most, however we interpret things, we got to interpret it in a way that empowers us. In a way that empowers us. And if you could say, like, yes, this logical fact is true, well, and if you feel like that makes it so you need to just keep on thinking about something for whatever reason, something that I like to do that really helps me is to think, okay, so obviously I value logic. Well, my logic is also saying that if I keep on focusing on this thing that makes me feel bad, or this, like, some kind of belief or narrative, or, like, if X then Y type statement, like, if this is making me feel bad, then it's not empowering me, and it's also not giving me the answers. Like, maybe some of it is right, but there's missing information there. I really do think that we can trust our intuition of when things feel nurturing and empowering and when things don't feel empowering. And it's kind of something that is, a rite of passage. We all go through it, we're not alone in it. But in feeling like at some point, we did not have the right mental, I was going to say mental tools, but I really mean like storytelling ability. Like, we didn't have the right narrative, the right emotion, and like proclamation, like some kind of like moving, some words that like move us in a direction. We didn't have the right chain of words and the right lens and perspective in order to support ourselves to survive in the middle of really nefarious environments that are uncaring, that are brutal, that are kind of the hallmark of surviving within a capitalist world, where it's like that classic idea of capitalism, where you are just kind of a interchangeable pawn in somebody else's operation, that kind of thing. And somewhere along the way you did, motivate yourself to survive, and you try to protect yourself as much as you could by really disempowering, using words that used to be disempowering, always were disempowering, but are especially disempowering to you now. But they used to be the words that allowed you to survive, even if there were negative side effects. But like the cost outweighs the pros now, right? As recovered people, now that we realize it takes an entirely different mindset and tone and relationship with ourselves and belief about who we are in the world and what is possible in the world for us to interact with, like the types of cultures, subcultures, like just traditions, ways of interacting with other people, ways that are built on kindness and care, and yes, like hard work and determination and accountability and responsibility, and consistency, and all these necessary stable things, but also balancing that alongside the regenerative aspects, the things that give us the ability to grow and expand and be nurtured and fertilized like a plant so that we can continue to grow stronger um, and bear that fruit for ourselves and other people to enjoy. And yeah, I'm wanting to explore more metaphors about understanding ourselves as plants, to be in the just the dynamic of the relationship that we hold with ourselves, because I think especially in intense kind of emotional moments, it's important to have a really accessible metaphor that has like some emotional heft behind it, to help remember and to help like feel and recall the right tone that we want to take during this whole learning process. It's a long learning process, and it's extremely worth it, because this is the path. It is the path, as confusing as it might seem sometimes, as impatient we might feel, as mysterious it might seem. This is the path to um, basically using our innate creative power in a trusting way in the world, that trusts ourselves, trusts other people, can rely upon ourselves, can rely on other people. And yeah, this is the path of resilience, like especially after we have been in recovery, and now as recovered people, we are realizing that resilience is um, just an entire way of life, an entire way of interpreting situations. And yeah, it can be difficult at times, or rather, life can be difficult. Life can be difficult at times. Life can still, life is going to be life. Other people are going to be other people. Outside circumstances are still going to be out of our control. But the important thing is to remember that we can control the way that we feel about things, and the way that we feel about ourselves, and just the nature of existence, like what even exists out there and what we can connect with and what quality of life we are able to have. We have to hold that really dear to us in our hearts, and make it a discipline to change our thought patterns around and catch ourselves, so that we can help constantly be that source of reminding ourselves that even if we haven't exactly found what we're looking for, that it exists out there, where we can have we can approach challenges with grace, where we can approach the awkward, the uncomfortable, um, the the strange, like the like not too sure, like I don't know what's going on here, this feels off, where we can approach all those things with a hug, like some kind of balm to make it, to smooth it, and not have it like cut and bury into us and our minds, and totally change our perspectives of what we believe is possible for us, and what we can participate in, you know like yeah. So that's just the kind of thing that my mind is on today. And yeah, while life is challenging, the beauty is that these new mindsets of resilience that we are learning, that is the path through which we can accept the painful, where we can care and nurture for ourselves quicker, and like help ourselves quicker, where we can even be proactive and prevent um, pain and confusion and suffering and all of that. And it's not to be perfectionistic, um, but it is to be able to enjoy as much as possible the quality of experience that we like and that we're curious about. Like, it doesn't even have to be like a huge, if this doesn't happen, then the world is gonna fall apart. Like, everything's gonna go to hell. Like, it doesn't have to be like that at all. Like, it can very much just be like, I'm I'm just curious about this. Like, I'm just wondering, like, what is life like if I do this? What does life feel like? How do I feel about myself? What opportunities open up to me? What it's just the sensation and like the emotions that I'll experience on a regular basis. What is my perspective and insight into the world if I do different things, or if I I think it's important to come at things from that acknowledgement that it's all about like curiosity and playing and just basically finding interesting things to motivate us, because that really keeps us remembering that we got to prioritize kind of the coming back to that quality of just the tone, the tone of how we think of things, we imagine things, because that tone can be more important than whatever goal we might have in our mind. And yeah, I know there's so many ways to think about the world, so many ways to interpret circumstances, and it'll vary from circumstance to circumstance. But I think as long as we remember empowerment, to be like, well, what tone or thought, or what helps me to be empowered in this moment, um that is really really important, because it gives us the more of that insight that we can really enjoy participating in life with other people towards things that really matter to us, and that we don't have to live in fear um, of clashing clashing. That's that is definitely something that I think is also really common to recovered people, um, and people in general, you know, people in general. But it is this sense of wanting peace and wanting to take responsibility for our part to help things be peaceful. But especially when addictions have been involved, we haven't been knowing how to support peace outside of maybe substances, or just removing ourselves from situations. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. But I think that there needs to be a balance to also be able to enjoy interacting with people and the blessings and satisfaction that comes with working together towards mutual purposes, and the joy of playing with fellow people, like playing as living beings on the planet, like just being like curious, like, oh, I wonder what's at the top of that mountain. I wonder what it's like to build a house. I wonder, just all these things, is like, yeah, we can be curious about it and excited, and then we gotta interact with other people to really enjoy all of the more subtle pieces of the puzzle that we couldn't necessarily even have the frame of reference to be able to know what we are wanting, what we want to experience, you know, and just what we're curious about. Um, so yeah, we gotta continue practicing resilience by remembering that even when we feel down, you know, sometimes empowering thoughts aren't necessarily like trying to, you know, brainwash ourselves and or gaslight ourselves or whatever you want to say with affirmations like everything is wonderful. I feel great. Everything is heavenly. You know, sometimes that's not empowering. And if you feel like it's not empowering, we always got to be honest with ourselves. So always be like, oh, I notice this doesn't really feel empowering to me at the moment to be saying and feeling, or to be saying and imagining this kind of thing. So in that case, experiment with what does help you feel empowered in that moment. And sometimes empowered is acknowledging the bad things, not in a hopeless way, but just like this sucks and I don't like it. And it can be really courageous to, and it doesn't even have to be necessarily a very upset kind of thing, you know, depending on the situation. Sometimes we do gotta, it is empowering to us accept um, when there are forces beyond our control that are just really, really painful, really difficult. Other times, that's not so empowering. So it's all up to our discretion, our own authority of how we know we feel whenever we say or think a certain thing or consider taking a certain perspective, you know. Um, yeah, so that is just something that even when really difficult things keep on coming up for me, I just keep on being like, this is empowering because it's reminding me that I am on this path of resilience, where there is hope because I'm not just bulldozed in the past and my whole mindset and hopes and dreams shattered by little things that might not even be signs of like the portents of doom that I thought it was. Like maybe it actually isn't that. Like it actually isn't. Like my whole life doesn't have to flash before my eyes, and I don't have to imagine a ton of chain of events that could be horrible that could lead from this one little small thing, you know. Um yeah, so it's we are all just learning how to work with ourselves, with our active mind, how to join our minds and body together, um, so that we can continue to live in the world unafraid of tomorrow and excited about just playing and our responsibility to be happy. We got a responsibility to be happy. And we got to be really honest with ourselves about what will make us happy, what we know for ourselves, what we want to experience, and also acknowledge that that'll change as time goes on. What will make us really feel happy and what we want to experience, and we can only deal with the present in the moment, pretty much. um, but yeah, life is complicated, but our you know our body is the medium through which we experience the world, and it's good to remember that increasing our physical health is really necessary because that changes that like tunes the device. Like if our body is like a musical instrument, you know, we're going to be tuning the device to the the key of whatever, the key of G, the key of F. I don't know instruments. I'm thinking like guitars, you know. But how we take care of our bodies and just the physiological health that our body is at, that can go a big way towards our quality tuning our quality of life to what we want to experience. You know, it's all about what we want to experience because we are here to empower ourselves to be as creative and entranced with our personal reality as possible, and acknowledge that what we are experiencing we do want, and the things that we don't want is a part of the process of the things that we do want. You know, we just got to spin everything to be empowered, and also remember that when it's important for our bodies to be as healthy as possible, because that does change it can affect, depending on your beliefs and your knowledge of who you are and what you're capable of, your inner knowledge, your you know, of your potential. Depending on that, while our body can affect our mind, so too can our mind affect our body. So it's important also to be affirming that our bodies are extremely healthy. And you know, it's a feedback system. We have two pathways of information where our body is doing things to help affirm to our mind that our body is healthy, our physical health is good, that we are tuned to the key of G, whatever key you want to play in. And then our mind also is communicating to our body that yes, our body is healthy, our body can be relaxed, our body can feel safe, our body can feel at home, our body can move and not feel afraid. Our body can exist and be good. Our body is sacred and necessary and fun and an amazing tool through which to experience being alive. You know, our minds and our bodies, we're relearning how to help them work together, and I think that can be a great place for creative. My stomach is growling. That can be a really good place for creative perspective creation. Like if we are having a challenging time, that can really help that perspective of our body and mind relearning how to communicate with each other and collaborate together. It can really open the door for a lot of feelings of empowerment and actionability as we are going through difficult circumstances and sensations and experiences, challenges, as we're trying to accomplish our goals and to change our focuses. And, you know, all this really hard stuff that, especially when we are at the very beginning stages of the learning curve, like, yes, it is a forever process, but when we are kind of at the difficult parts of the learning curve where it's very new, you know, we are putting in more effort in order to excavate what perspectives make sense for us and help and do empower us, so that we can go towards them more easily, like a shortcut in the future. And it can just help us make quicker decisions and feel better quicker, feel more empowered, and stay focused on the important things that we hold ourselves accountable to to stay consistent and present and available for other people, um, and for ourselves. So yeah, we gotta we gotta just keep on remembering that this whole learning process is complex, but it is also extremely rewarding, and to look for all the fun, the celebration in it, because that is a part of what energizes us as we are going. That's a part of what energizes us to feel motivated and to know that all of this is really worth it, and that there is that safety. There is that safety being alive, just as we've experienced the depths of pain in our lives, especially post recovery, or maybe at the very beginning stages of being recovered, technically speaking, but learning how to help our minds be resilient in a sense of like a stable action plan and a ongoing narrative to help us interpret like who we are and what we're doing, like in the now and in the coming days, and just help us make decisions and feel good about those decisions, you know, is a lot to learn to. And you know, it we gotta stay remembering the play aspect, the lighthearted aspect, the gratitude aspect, the secure, safe aspect, the patient aspect. And I think fun is extremely important for patience. Time flies when you're having fun. And um and a part of fun is exploring mystery and exploring curiosity. And sometimes in order to explore the things that we really want to explore, that actually like emotionally motivate us and make us feel interested, we have to do some tinkering around with our mindset and our beliefs as to who we are and what we're capable of doing, and just finding new ways to process information so that we can support ourselves in new explorations in a authentic, like really present way, you know, instead of just feeling like we are forcing ourselves, like white knuckling, like you must do this, like you must go to the gym, like, and like forcing it, but like our minds are disconnected and we're like kind of dissociating, just forcing ourselves through mechanical acts, and we can't really feel the fun, you know, feel the relaxation, feel the spirit of exploration. And yeah, it's equally as important to find the note find the note of what musical key our minds need to be tuned to, have our minds and bodies tuned to the same key, something like that. Anyways, that's the subject that's on my mind for today that I wanted to share, because it's really helping me to feel encouraged, and like life is even that more graspable. I don't know the word, like, you know, yeah, I can't think of the word. But yeah, let's just say empowered. That's like that's an easy way to try to convey it. Um and I hope very much that these kind of topics um help you remember things that you have known. Bless me. Um, I hope that thinking on these topics are able to help you remember things that you have known and to interpret it through your own interpersonal language and metaphors and experiences with the things and reference points, all the things that help it come together and make sense for you and be something digestible that you can apply to yourself and your life so that, you can really have more of that sense of certainty that you're not in it alone, that you're not in it for in like the thick of it for no reason. Like everything is working out to your best advantage, even during those unpredictable moments that it can feel intimidating. And yeah, I affirm for you that everything that you experience absolutely can be interpreted in the way that is most empowering for you personally, given your personal circumstances that only you know, your personal history that only you know, and that you are that secret key to being able to feel safe and secure, because it's all about your personal reference points and experiences and connection to yourself and connection to other people, because connecting to other people helps us to understand ourselves in a different way, especially acknowledging that we aren't alone and that we can imagine ourselves as being a part of something more community oriented, which I think is pretty fun and cool. So, thank you so much for listening and talk to you soon. Bye.